Okay, so hello everybody, you are welcome to another YouTube tutorial. Today we are making everything simple and short. I'll try my best to make things very simple and short, and try my best that I will not put much information to you and explain every concept to the extent that you understand very, very deeply. Remember, we are learning programming not with only Python, but then for every other programming language. So I'll make sure that I explain the concept to you so that you get it very, 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 very well. But then we using Python, so no problem. You must have Python installed, and if you don't have Python installed, make sure that you watch our previous tutorial where we install Python and VS Code. So let's just dive straight to today's agenda. So today's agenda is very, very simple. We are coming to implement the concept that we learned in our previous tutorial, which we explained the concept of variables on the board, and this time around we are moving from the board to the test editor. So let's just make it fast. So uh to open your VS Code, let me show you this shortcut. You don't need to open the VS Code directly from your Windows, so that you have to come and choose the folder again, or it will take you to another folder. To open VS Code, there's a shortcut for that. So you just need to open the file explorer or your directory. Then if you're using other operating system, I don't know of Mac, but I know of uh, Ubuntu or other Linux distro. So if you're listening Linux, I just right click and choose open in terminal. Then if you open in terminal, it will open that same directory path for you. But then if you're using Windows, I just come here, then type CMD, then press enter. So if you press enter, it will open the command prompt for you. Then if you're using Linux Store, it will open the terminal for you. Then just type in code. It will be the same thing on Linux too, and I'm sure it's the same thing on Mac too. But I don't know how to open Mac from that same directory, because I've not used Mac before. Yeah, but I think it will be very simple, and the operating system will make sure that it's very is very easy to identify. So just open the terminal from the particular directory you want, then type in code. So if you press enter like this, code, it will open VS Code for you straightly from that folder or the directory you type. So here we don't have anything, don't have variables. So let me just close this one. So to 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 start writing Python code, you must have a Python file which will contain the Python code, so that the interpreter will be able to understand what we are giving to it. So let's come here, new file, then click on that one. Then it will give you this window or this view. Then you type in your Python file name. It can be any name you want, but just remember that it must end with .py, so that the computer will know that okay, this is a Python file. So if you run this one, it will be handled by the Python interpreter. Yeah. So I just choose to use variables as my file name variable. Oh, am I spelling it correct? No, sorry. Variable. Hey, if I'm not spelling it correct, I just put it in the comment section. Maybe I'll change this later. Variable dot uh py. Yeah. So this is my variable.py, and it's my Python file. You can choose any Python name you want, and it will work for you, perfectly work for you. Just that it might end with .py, and it must not start with a number or an integer or anything like that. Just start with an alphabet or an underscore. Okay, so let me just break things down, and let's explain the most important concepts. As we goes on further, we will explain other concepts also. So before we will learn about variables, we need to know something we call data types. So data types are just like what it sounds like. Data types is just data. Then we have many different types. So data types. Yeah. So we have in Python we have different data types. We have about, yeah, there are very, very many. We have data types that was made by the user, custom data type, which are classes, and we are not there yet. But today we'll be talking about primitive data types. So if we hear primitive data types, They are just simple data types that Python comes up with for you freely. You don't need to create them on your own. You don't need to form that particular data type on your own. But then Python has already defined those data types. So anytime you try to use those the data types, Python understand, okay, this thing what this boy means, or this thing what this girl means, or this thing that this person is trying to say is this. Yeah. So this their data types are just data, but they are in different forms of types. Just as in our normal our physical world, we have different forms of matter. Yeah, or different forms of things, such as we have solid, we have liquid, then we have gas. It is the same thing also in Python. We have what we call integers, which are numerical data. I don't know how to put it. Numerical data. Then we have floats, which are integers with decimals. You must take notice of this. Floating points are just like integers, but then they have decimal places. But then integers or int or not numbers, integers do not have any decimal place. But then floating points, they have decimals. Yeah, so if you have floats, it means that you have decimal. Then we have what we call strings. Strings are just like uh, any kind of uh, data or any kind of character that you give to uh, the PC. It will just give you that same thing. But then strings are within inverted commas or quotation marks. Any type you type string, it must be in a quotation mark. If you don't understand, we go deep as we journey on. Then we have booleans too, which are just true and false. Booleans, uh, what booleans are? They are just like this thing is true or this thing is false. This thing is right or this thing is wrong. They are just between two options, either right or wrong, either true or false. So let's start by typing, or let's start by going deep to the code so that we just understand what we mean. Okay, so you have no, I'll discuss this one later. Then so we have different data types that I talked about. We have what we call the integers, one, two, three. They are all called integers. Then we have what we call the decimal places, which are called floats. Then we have these are all primitive data types. We have other complex data types, which we discuss later as the video progresses. Then we have what you call not primitive, but what we call booleans. Either something is true or something is false. So true. Then we have what you call strings. So strings, they are just uh anything anything you can think of. Yeah, so but just that strings, this is a must. Strings must be in um quotation marks or inverted commas, as some people call it. Yeah, strings must be in quotation marks, whether single quote or double quote. In Python, it does not matter, but in other languages, it matters because we have other data types we call characters also in other languages. But for Python, it does not matter if you just type it in single quotation mark or double quotation mark. You are just done. You are going your way. No need to worry again. Oh, no problem. Let's continue our video. So these are some data types. We call them primitive data types. These are the data types we are supposed to know as a beginner, because this is what you'll be working on almost all the time. And you can use these data types also to form more complex data types, which we will talk about in uh, upcoming videos. We will talk about more complex data types, which will be from these basic data types. So yeah, so uh, let's see. Let's try to dive deep here. So to know a particular data type or to verify a particular data type, you have what you call the type, which is a particular method in Python for checking uh, the type of variable. So and we our last video we learned that to print something on the console we need to use the print function. Yeah, so let's use print here. Then let's try to print the type of variable, or not the type of data to our console too. We need to use type, then it must be in this. So no, no. Type, then let's see, we have one. If you have one and you run the coder, you see that this is of the class int. So this one is an integer. Let me just type anything. This one is an integer. The reason why it is not printing um the data we have given it is because we have used type here, and this type returns, or this type gives us the type of uh, data type, but not the data itself. You must take notice of this. It just came to my mind that it might confuse some people. Okay, so this type will just return or give you the type of uh, data it is, the data type, not the data itself. We have the data itself, then we have the data type. So we are printing the data type of this, and this is of the class int, meaning it is an integer. It is of integer class, so it is an integer. But if immediately we add decimal place to this one, it changes or it ceases to be an integer. So let's run this code here. You see that it is now of the class. It is not of the class int again. It is of the class floats. So anytime we add a decimal point to something, no matter the number of decimal points in Python, it is called floats. It is a floating point. Put it in your mind. Floating points are not floating point. Floating a data type called floats is just an integer with a decimal place. Yeah, so if you run this one, you see that it's still called float because it had decimal places. So in case even here is zero, but then you have this, it is called floats. Yeah. So, and we have another data type we talk about. Also, we have what we call the true or the false. Remember, the true starts with a capital letter, not a small letter. They are not the same. They are not the same in Python. They are not the same. So we have this true, which is a boolean. If you print it to give you bool, because it's of the boolean class. So the short form of boolean is called bool. And if you type false to the type of this is also still bool. Food. Then another type also we call the strings, which I use we use single or double quotation mark to wrap around it. If you type, okay, let me type my name, Albert. So if I print this one, it will still give you string because it's of the type string. No matter whatever you put here, the fact that it is in a quotation mark makes it a string, even if it is an integer. So let me put one here, or let me put a big number. If you put one here, it is still of the class uh, string. It is not of the class int, or it is not of the class integer. It is of the class string. Let me add dot more decimal places to it. So you see that it's still of the class string. So here, why is it that it is of the class string? Because first it is an integer. We have put an integer. Then second, we have added a decimal point. So normally it's supposed to be floats, but then our program is recognizing it as a string. The reason being recognized as a string is because it is within uh quotation mark or inverted commas, no matter how we call it, it is within quotation mark or inverted commas. So if our Python program sees that, okay, you have a particular kind of data within uh this inverted commas or quotation mark, it calls it string. No matter the kind of data type it is, it knows that, okay, this is a string. So strings are just data type that gives you whatever you type to it. So in case I want, I can just at Kani Obed. 28. That's my Gmail. I just no matter. Okay, so I can over 28, and then it will know that okay, this is a string. Even if you don't even type anything, leave it like this to still give you string because it is still a string. If you give you space, it is still a string. So strings are basically whatever we give to the PC. That's what we call string. So this time around we have learned about the data type. Then also we have learned about data. So let's go now to variables. So at first I said that variables are just like containers. They are just containers used to store data. Used to store data. So if you want to store a particular data or the data type um, in a container, we store it in a variable. So variables are just like containers. They are called containers. So if you want to store them, you just store it in what you call containers. And oh, sorry, why did I even put off my sorry. So, sorry guys, I just paused the video to answer some question, answer some call, and I really forgot to hear. Okay, so let's continue. I don't really do editing. I do live recording straight because I'm too occupied. Okay, that was another case. Okay, so I think I left out on we were on variables. So variables are just as I just said, variables are for storing data types. So let's say we want to store a particular data type as we learned in uh, time past. Right now that data types are the different types of data. So let's say I want to store a particular data type because I don't want to repeat it most in the program again. So let me call that the data type var. Then let me say this data type is an integer, so 15. Then I want to use 15 in my program all the time. So if I want to store a particular kind of data or data type, I will create what's called a variable. A variable can be of any name, but there's this that this, you must put these rules in your head. A variable must never start with dot or something like at special characters. A variable should never start with them. A variable should always start with an, not that it must not have them, it must always start with an alphabet or an underscore. A variable must always and almost not always at any time start with an underscore or an alphabet. Yeah. So we have a variable called, we can name this variable one, doesn't matter. Just I start, it must not start with one. So variable ever, then we call it 15. We know that because we assign it to 15. Remember, this is called an assignment operator. It is not a comparison operator. It is not normal equal to as in maths, but then it is assignment operator, meaning we are assigning uh we are assigning 15 to 5. No, what am I saying? We are assigning 15 to var means that 15, this 15 is pointed to var. So anytime, any place we see 15 or any place we see this integer called 15, uh anytime we see this variable called var, we are referring to this integer. So let's try it here and print it here. So print var, then let's run this. Okay, so because we have assigned this 15 to var and we printed var, it has given us 15. So it is not var, it didn't give us var, but then it gave us 15 because 15 has been assigned to var. Let's change it, let's add this, whatever. Then let's print. You see that it has given us um this, meaning we are not printing this normal var, but then we are printing the container that contains this. So it is this data type that is contained in this variable that we are printing. So remember, you can name your variable any name you want and it will work. Hmm. Oh, how do I type it? Uh, just bring it here. It will still work. Just that it must not violate um the rules for naming. The fact that it is within the rules of naming, no matter the variable name, it will work. But make sure that your variable is very, very meaningful and you understand it as time progress. Okay, so this is called let me bring it back. var. Let me call this var. So right now we can store this here. You can store strings to here. You can okay, this is me and print it. You see it in the console that is this is me. And just put it uh let's make it this way. Type. So if you print the type of the var, you see that it is of the type string. It is not of the it is not of the type var because we are not printing var. The var is just like a container used to store this string. So in case we say print 12, it will give us an integer because we are printing this, we are printing the type of this 12. So it is like putting this 12 straight here. But then because we don't want to repeat the 12 in our code all the time, we put in this the var and it will work. So it will give us an integer. So in case we come here, then we say dot to give us floats. Because it is the container we are the data in the container we are printing, not the container itself. Then say true. So here it has given us the type boolean, means what we are printing is of the type boolean. So in case I take the type out, then I print this and see that it will give me bool. It will give me true because the variable is true. Then in case I come here, then change it, then say 125 to give me 125, meaning the uh the data here is 125 and we have stored it in this container called var and we are printing it. So I would like to stop here. I think the video is becoming too long and I don't want the video to become too long, but then we will continue and still learn more or deeper things as the thread continue. So make sure you like and you subscribe to the channel so that you continue to receive this kind of uh, videos which explains things into deep for you. And make sure you also share this video too. Yeah. So see you next time.